Ladies and gentlemen, this is my newest acquisition, the PSP Slim. It's a PSP 2000 model as opposed to the Fat or 1000 model. And there's also a new 3000 model out that just came out somewhat recently. But I chose the Slim model, this silver particular one you see here, for one reason, and that's the ability to install custom firmware, which I've yet to do. But I plan on doing sometime this week. We can see that the menu is identical to that of the PS3. Makes navigating quite easy if you're familiar with the PS3 menu. Switch that off. Now let's take a look at this thing up close. We have our standard D-pad on the left, as well as the familiar PlayStation buttons, the X, square, triangle, and circle, plus two rather ingenious shoulder buttons there. Very nice. And we have an analog stick. Now this analog stick is difficult to get used to, but does work fairly well. There are a number of buttons on the bottom, including a home button right there, volume up and down, a brightness button, a music note button. I'm not quite sure what that's for yet. I'm still getting familiar with the system. A select and a start button. Your power button's a slide button right there. And over on the opposite side is a little hidden panel for your memory stick. And that's for all your save game data and things of that nature. Now as we look at the top, there's a USB port, and there is a WLAN switch, and on the back we have the disc loading system right there. Now the PSP discs are rather strange looking, called UMDs. I got one right here. This is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. They're in some kind of plastic protective case, and that whole thing slides right in the disk drive like that. Pretty ingenious, I must say. I was quite impressed with the PSP. It really surprised me. The screen quality is pretty darn good. The system is very comfortable to play. With one slight note, when using the analog stick and the trigger buttons up at the top, the shoulder buttons, it's a little difficult because you seem to be gripping the unit on the extreme edges. And it doesn't feel all that intuitive. It's not like holding a regular console controller. But once you get accustomed to that, it's quite fun to play. The unit's small and light. It's about the size of 2 cigarette lighters in length, and a little shorter than 1 cigarette in width, 1 cigarette lighter in width. And it's not that thick either. Not much thicker than a cigarette lighter. I was definitely surprised. It's definitely a fun little unit. Seems to pack a lot of power in a little handheld. And I can't wait to install some custom firmware and do all kinds of cool things like run Atari emulators and things like that on it. But I'll give a detailed tutorial on how to install custom firmware in an upcoming video. I'm Dommy from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.